Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
More Americans are making more money, but it's not as good as it sounds. Between the years 1979 and 2016, average earnings for Americans in their prime working years went up 30%. But a new report from the Economic Policy Institute says the reason isn't higher pay. It's that people are working longer hours. That's because wages are flat, but cost of living is going up. American workers are spending more time at their jobs to make ends meet. People who earn less are working the most. Between 1979 and 2016, workers in the bottom fifth of earners increased their hours about 24%. Those in the middle worked about 9% more. Top earners worked about 3.6% more. Experts are worried about what that means for workers in the future. One of the study's authors said, with a fixed number of hours in a day and with workers given little control over their schedules, there are limits to how far people can boost their annual pay by working longer hours. The team behind the report hopes it'll be used to address work and income inequality. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services are alerting more than 600 people in 3 counties of a possible tuberculosis outbreak. A healthcare worker was diagnosed with a potentially fatal disease, so blood tests and medical treatment are being offered to those who may have been exposed. And the FCC has ordered net neutrality to officially end on April 23rd. This means internet service providers will be allowed to treat content differently, charge for content, or even slow down and block certain content. Tech giants and consumer advocacy groups oppose the repeal. Pushback is expected. And finally, Britt Morin lost her wedding rings during a flight on United Airlines, but got an unexpected delivery just a few days later. The rings were found in a New Jersey terminal, and Captain Jim Morey personally delivered them to her San Francisco home with a handwritten note. Talk about going above and beyond. Hey, Richard, you've got the latest in business news?
Yes, Kristen, let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with Jerry Willis. Jerry, Amazon have just made a big announcement.
That's right, Richard. Amazon is going cashless in 6 new locations for its Amazon Go stores in Seattle and Los Angeles opening this year. Customers will use just walkout technology to grab and go products without ever checking out with a cashier. Now, the big question for investors is, can they use the technology in Whole Foods? Well, it's going to cost you more to board the Friendly Skies. Southwest Airlines, which is famous for no assigned seats, they're now going to charge you up to $50 to board in the first group of passengers. And keeping up with Wall Street, reality star Kylie Jenner slamming Snapchat, tweeting out this: "So, does anyone else not open Snapchat anymore, or is it just me? Ugh, this is so sad." The makeup mogul's comments wiping out $1.3 billion of Snapchat's market value with that comment.
And Jerry, Snapchat has not been very popular among some of its users lately.
No, it's not. Snapchat's recent update has been slammed by critics. In fact, 73% of its users only gave it a 1-star review in iOS and Android reviews.
Let's see if they can turn it around. Jerry, on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, thank you. Car makers are redesigning car keys and making them multifunctional to add to the experience of driving their car. The BMW 7 Series has a key that includes a full-color touchscreen. The driver can lock and unlock the car like a normal key, but also has the option of controlling the climate, viewing the fuel range, and even parking the car remotely. Jaguar offers a wristband that can lock and unlock the car when it is held close to the door. Certain Aston Martin models offer a watch that doubles as a car key, and some car makers are getting rid of the key altogether. Volvo has a smartphone app that pairs with your car and offers all the same functions as a normal key. So as cars continue to advance technologically, expect the keys that go with them to do the same. Welcome back. Sports Illustrated published a piece about the Dallas Mavericks basketball team in which they alleged, quote, that there is a culture rife with misogyny and predatory sexual behavior. And the question being asked is, to what extent is Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, responsible for any of this? Kristen.
Yeah, these allegations are pretty serious, too. You said the misogyny and whatnot. It's public fondling by the team president is in this these accusations. And Sports Illustrated interviewed almost a dozen former and current Maverick employees for this, and it's pretty serious. But Mark Cuban can't see the day-to-day little tiny things going on everywhere, and so I personally feel conflicted about saying one man is responsible.
Now, he said he was involved in basketball operations, but not in the day-to-day of the business side, and had no idea what was going on. So if he didn't know, right, there is an argument that says if you are the boss or the owner of a business and there's an entire culture, if it's true this, entire culture, right, then you ought to know. So you also have mechanisms in place that people report these things to you.
How are you with selfies? Do you take a lot of selfies?
No, I don't.
Be honest.
No, being honest.
Really?
Yeah, I'm self-obsessed, sure. That's what you're getting. That's why you assume I take lots of selfies.
I mean, here's why I ask you guys. Selfies may seem harmless to most, but some experts say it could lead to a real addiction. It may seem a little far-fetched, but a recent study said a person who is obsessively taking selfies and posting them to social media may suffer from something called selfitis. Experts are saying this is a real thing, and if in your photos, 50% of your photos are selfies.
I mean, I would think about that. If you more of everything you see in the world all around you, and half the photos you take are of yourself,
you have a problem.
Yeah.
You may have a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so. Yeah, or you're just boring. You know, there's more to the world than you.
Well, I think what is crazy is this is a real thing. Experts are saying this could lead to anxiety or depression if you take too many selfies.
I was out with someone the other day who's on television back home, and she was just constantly just doing this all the time.
That's so me.
It's also why that's why we will not be socialising, Kristen. Ashton Kutcher recently revealed that he went to the mountains and fasted for a week after breaking up with Demi Moore to help him get over their relationship.
Poor Ashton.
Yeah, well, he just went to the mountains. He says he quite enjoyed it. He went to the mountains. He only drank tea and water, and he said, I started hallucinating on, day 2, which was fantastic.
Have you ever gone through a crazy breakup like that?
Well, you remember I told you previously about when I had my first my only real breakup was when I worked at McDonald's, and I was serving, and my girlfriend came to the counter, ordered her food, then she dumped me, and then my solution was not to go to India and drink tea. My solution was to go to the storeroom, sit on a box of pickles and cry. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? What's funny about that?
I can just visualize you on that box of pickles.
Why's everyone laughing at my heartbreak?
I know this is going to shock you, but I dated a wannabe rapper back then in my 20s. He told me he was doing a collaboration with Snoop Dogg, and so he was going to pay me back. So he's like, buy this car for me, and then I'm going to do a collabo with Snoop Dogg, and I'm going to pay you right back. So I bought the car. He didn't do the song with Snoop Dogg, never paid me back. So I towed the car from his house.
Oh, that's great.
Where is he now? I don't know.
Yeah, that's showbiz. So there you go. You now have 3 solutions for what to do if you're going through a breakup. Go to Indian mountains and drink tea, sit on a box of pickles and cry, or tow a car away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. There's been an astonishing development in the story of the Parkland school shooting. Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel says that an armed deputy was on the scene but did not enter the building for 4 minutes after the shooting began. That deputy, called Scott Peterson, was suspended and later resigned. And when asked what Scott Peterson should have done, the sheriff said, quite simply, addressed the killer, killed the killer.
Well, listen to this. According to a sheriff's union official, Peterson believed he did a good job because he called in the location, gave a description of the shooter, and set up a perimeter. Did he freeze? I mean, he was trained. Did he freeze?
Look, there's no debate here. He definitely should have gone into the school because that was his job. It doesn't mean that I don't have some sympathy for him on a human level. There's a man in there with a machine gun and he's outside with a pistol. And I think it's worth remembering that as we enter this bigger debate about arming teachers. Because now imagine, a history teacher in the class who hears gunfire down the hall and now has to reach for their gun, terrified, and pick out the shooter in a room full of children.
Yeah, what is their responsibility?
Yeah, the pro can't do it.
Right, the human aspect. I totally understand that point. Well, another big talker today, new documents reportedly show illegal payments to some of the biggest players and schools in the NCAA. It could violate rules. So as it stands, it is illegal in the NCAA to pay student athletes. So of course, This new news ignites the debate once again. Should student athletes be paid or not? And, you know, these documents don't surprise me at all. You know, I'm a former college athlete. I was on a full-ride scholarship. And
an excellent college athlete, that's what I heard.
oh, I thank you.
I didn't hear it, but I'm assuming.
Don't tell the good people at home that you didn't hear it, because they actually believed you. And, you know, these athletes are celebrities, and they make billions of dollars for the school.
Well, here's some actual numbers to the players. Dennis Smith, by the way, I know nothing about college basketball, but I'm still gripped by this story. Dennis Smith received $43,500, and a player called Isaiah Whitehead got $26,136. Now, within the this is illegal, but within the parameters of corruption, that's quite a good deal for those colleges. They paid those players a relatively small amount of money and go on to make sometimes hundreds of millions off of these tournaments.
And so the debate is alive and well. Should these players be paid?
By the way, that is a brilliant debate. They're so talented.
Very deep.
And these colleges make all this money and they make nothing.
Absolutely. But then we can't forget, it's not that they don't make nothing. They do get an education, and it's a free education at that.
We'd love to hear from you on this. It's a gripping debate. Go to our Facebook page and let us know what you think, whether you are an ordinary citizen or a former all-time great basketball player like Kristen Smith. We'll be right back.
In today's hometown stories from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, Debbie Turmel doesn't have medical insurance, so when she felt a lump in her breast, she almost didn't get it checked out. But thankfully, Florida Hospital Tampa has a foundation designed to help people who are uninsured and facing health problems. That foundation is funded in part through events like Shoot for a Cure. Last year, the fundraiser brought in more than $20,000 for the hospital, and thanks to their efforts, Debbie was able to get a mammogram and a biopsy free of charge. And better yet, the lump was not cancerous. In our second story from Fox 46 Charlotte, in 2008, former Army Sergeant Dale Beatty co-founded Purple Heart Homes, an organization that helps veterans with housing needs. Well, tragically, Dale passed away from a blood clot at the age of 39, but his service and sacrifice will not be forgotten. The Patriot Military Family Foundation, a group Dale worked closely with, is committed to supporting Dale's family in their time of need, raising money so Dale's legacy continues to live on. In our final story from Fox 2 Detroit, the students at Groves High School in Beverly Hills, Michigan, raised over $52,000 during its annual Charity Week, and they overwhelmingly chose to support one organization, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI.
This is a step in the right direction with a school and a whole community coming together and raising this much money for a single cause. It's going to get people more comfortable to get the help they need.
Most importantly, the students want to make sure every kid knows that they are supported.
Time now for Royal Watch with the Sun. Let's check in with the legendary Arthur Edwards, the Sun's royal photographer for 40 years. He is in London. Arthur, welcome back.
Thank you, Richard.
The Queen made a surprise public appearance this week.
It's the London Fashion Awards, which is going on at the moment. I went with the Queen to do a job on Tuesday morning, and she was going to the Royal College of Physicians. And I thought I had a great picture that day. I was really delighted with myself to learn that at 2 o'clock, without any notice, she'd gone to the London Fashion Awards, and there was the Queen of England sitting next to the Queen of Fashion and Anna Wintour.
Look at that, even your body language says it's been a disappointing week. Many women at the BAFTAs wore a black dress in support of the Time's Up movement. Kate did not.
She got a lot of criticism, most of it on the social media. The fact is, she'd spent $5,000 on a dress, and she was determined to wear it. And also, the fact that she wore a black sash, black handbag and black shoes, most people thought she gave a nod to the cause. Let me tell you, Richard, she's 7 months pregnant. She never looked better. She looks absolutely magnificent.
Arthur Edwards, I look forward to next week when hopefully your reflections won't be laced with abject disappointment.
So do I. Look forward to it, Richard.
Me too, Arthur. Thank you.
According to dermatologist Dr. Ginny Hubbard, the eyes are the first facial area to suffer from loose and sagging skin, a telltale sign of aging, which is why we've got today's top 30 deal. LaCour Paris Wrinkless Eye Device at a special 90% discount. The Wrinkless Eye is a unique and gentle eye device that will trigger tissue stimulation around the delicate eye area thanks to its exceptional sensor technology, lifting and firming the skin while ensuring absorption of skincare products. Additionally, Additionally, the device has a sleek shape, so it can also be used on all areas of your face. The best part? It's battery operated, so you can take it anywhere. The LaCour Paris Rinkless Eye device retails for as much as $995, but today you can buy it for just $99. That's about a 90% discount, and you can get this right now at top30deals.com while they last. Danielle Knox from Fox 35 Orlando brings you what you need to know today. Danielle?
Hi, Kristen. That's right. Researchers at UC Irvine have linked moderate alcohol consumption with the likelihood of living to 90 or older. The project found those who drank 1 or 2 glasses of beer or wine a day were 18% less likely to die prematurely. Shockingly, 15 to 45 minutes of exercise every day only cut the risk by 11%. Wonder if you'd hit 100 by combining both alcohol and exercise. Well, an artificial eye may hold the key to curing a number of diseases. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania built a synthetic eye with a lid to mimic blinking. They plan to use the model to study dry eye and corneal ulcers. And a new study shows more Americans are starting to keep their salaries a secret. Researchers finding that 1 in 5 Americans do not share information about what they make, with age and gender playing a big part in sharing those details. The study shows that half of men tell their partners how much they make, compared to 60% of women. And that's what you need to know. Kristen, back to you now.
Well, thanks for keeping us in the know, Danielle.
A new study from the Brookings Institution found borrowers with large student loan balances aren't defaulting, but they are falling behind in their payments. Researchers examined students who graduated with at least $50,000 in student debt in 2010. A majority hadn't paid down a single dollar of their debt 4 years later. In fact, their balances had risen an average of 5% due to accrued interest. Borrowers with jumbo student loans are becoming increasingly common. In 1990, large balance borrowers represented just 2% of all borrowers. By 2014, it was over 17%. The author said a relatively small share of borrowers accounts for the majority of outstanding student loan dollars. So the outcomes of this small group of individuals has outsized implications for the loan system and for taxpayers. While most of these borrowers are not in default, many are enrolled in programs that lower their monthly payments, like income-driven repayments. The sad tale of a hiking accident just got a bit stranger. Last year, Jeff Murphy of Illinois disappeared while hiking in Yellowstone National Park. After a massive search operation, his body was found at the bottom of a 500-foot cliff. For months, authorities said little other than they were investigating, but a local news station now reports that Murphy was searching for treasure. Art dealer Forrest Fenn claims to have buried a chest filled with $2 million in gold and jewels somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. He says a poem in his 2010 memoir holds clues to the exact location. Since then, 4 people have died looking for the chest. In addition to Murphy, 2 treasure hunters have died in the Rio Grande. Another was killed in the Arkansas River. Fenn has faced, quite naturally, sharp criticism in the wake of the deaths. The widow of one treasure seeker called his actions ludicrous. Fenn has offered condolences and urged people to stay safe, but despite those 4 deaths, he has refused to call off the hunt.
Vancouver is home to one of the hottest real estate markets in the world. So in an effort to make housing more affordable, the city imposed a 15% tax on foreign home buyers, hoping to deter overseas investors. These wealthy investors are thought to be taking advantage of the weak Canadian dollar, and the foreign home buyer tax hasn't been enough. So they now increase the tax to 20%, and later this year will introduce what they're calling a speculation tax, meant to target home buyers who don't live in the houses they purchase and don't pay income tax in British Columbia. The speculation tax is 0.5% of a home's assessed value in 2018, and then 2% for every year after. So, for example, tax on a $2 million home in 2018 will be $10,000 and $40,000 by 2019. Toronto is expected to follow suit if the tax proves to be successful. A 14-year-old girl has raised thousands of dollars for a cause she believes in, sending kids to the movies. But not just any movie. Taylor Richardson created a GoFundMe page hoping to raise $15,000 to send 1,000 other girls to see a screening of A Wrinkle in Time, the larger-than-life film based on the classic 1962 novel by Madeleine L'Engle. Taylor identifies with this film because the main character is a young black girl named Meg, played by actress Storm Reed, who travels to different planets and encounters beings and situations that Taylor says she's never seen a girl of color in. She says kids need representation so that they can take pride in who they are and know that they are more than capable of being anything they put their minds to. Well, Taylor is proof of that. She blew out her goal and has raised $20,000. And by the way, Taylor was featured by Teen Vogue last year after launching another campaign that raised thousands to send more than 800 girls to see the movie Hidden Figures. Something tells me we're going to be hearing the name Taylor Richardson for years to come. Hey, Richard, what's coming up on our next show?
Kristen, we're talking about debt. Many Americans are spending more on credit cards instead of following this key piece of financial advice. Plus, a study shows how far women in Hollywood have come and how far they still have to go, and the unusual engagement photos of one couple obsessed with movies. Top 30 also covers more of the day's stories live on Facebook daily, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern, all coming up on the next Top 30.